Welcome, 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 everyone. Hello, hello, and hello. All right, ready? We're gonna get started. I was trying to give y'all some time, some people some time, but we're gonna go ahead and get into it. So, everything is important. Today is a fresh page. Take a moment to breathe, to feel your body, to notice your mind. Everything you carry from yesterday can be set down, even just for a little while. The day ahead is not about doing more, it's about moving with awareness. Let your actions match your truth, even in small ways. There may be moments that feel heavy, confusing, or stretched. That's okay. Notice them without judgment. These moments are guiding you towards clarity, not from it. Choose presence over performance. Choose curiosity over reaction. Choose alignment over speed. You're allowed to start again today, exactly as you are. Every breath, every choice, every pause is part of your unfolding. Trust yourself to move through the day with calm focus and intention. And remember, noticing the small shifts matters just as much as the big ones. A lot of what we're moving through daily is routine, expectation, and habit, not choice. Much of life is structured for function, not for feeling alive. We spend most days responding to systems, schedules, and roles instead of ourselves. If life feels repetitive or disconnected, it doesn't mean something is wrong with you. That numb or unreal feeling is common when life becomes mostly obligation. When everything is about keeping things moving, presence is the first thing that disappears. Most of us were taught how to function long before we were taught how to be ourselves. From a young age, we learned what's acceptable, productive, and rewarded. Over time, survival skills start to replace self-expression. When life feels unreal, it's often because we're following a script more than we're making choices. The script keeps things working, but it doesn't always make things meaningful. The title. And if you just got here, I said everything's important. The title is Stay on Script or Stay Stuck. Don't go off script. Sometimes life doesn't feel real, not because it isn't, but because it's highly structured. Many of us spend our days responding to expectations, routines, and roles that were handed to us. When survival, productivity, and approval takes priority, presence slowly fades. That's why people feel disconnected, frustrated, or like we're watching life instead of living it. This isn't failure, it's conditioning. And noticing it doesn't mean rejecting life, it means remembering yourself inside. When life feels unreal, we're being trained to function instead of feel. Just the script. Today is an amazing day. The truth is important. So, message for the collective today. There's a strong vibe of people processing what no longer serves them. You might feel drawn to let go of old patterns, beliefs, or relationships that feel heavy or misaligned. This isn't always dramatic, sometimes it's just your quiet inner shifting. Expect a heightened sense of self reflection. People are more tuned into inner truth and less interested in superficial distractions. Decisions today might be influenced by insight rather than logic. There's an increased pull towards authentic communication and meaningful interactions. Surface level chatter feels less satisfying. Real, honest connection is what feels right energetically. Some may feel restless or impatient, like they should be further along than what they actually are. This can be a cue. Slow down, align with your own pace rather than the pace of others. Today favors clearing fog and gaining clarity. If there's something you've been sitting with, a truth you've been skirted around, the energy encourages you to face it. At a higher level today carries the energy of truth breaking, truth denial, through denial. Not in a loud way, but in a moment of quiet realization. People are seeing where they've been overgiving, where they've been self abandoning to keep peace, where they accepted half truths to avoid discomfort. Everything is important for a reason. Where they accepted half truths to avoid discomfort. Many are feeling tired, foggy, or emotionally sensitive, not because something is wrong, but because the collective nervous system is downshifting out of survival mode. This can feel uncomfortable because chaos felt familiar, calm felt unfamiliar. Your system is learning safety without control. On a karmic level today highlights energetic agreements, relationships, roles, and patterns that once served growth but have reached expiration. You may notice emotional detachments without bitterness, less desire to explain yourself, clarity without the need for closure. This is not coldness, it's completion. Thank you. Power is returning inward. The collective is reclaiming authority over their time, their energy, their emotional labor. There's a quiet but firm inner boundary forming. Less proving, less explaining, more I know what I know. This signals a shift from external validation to internal sovereignty. The pause before the leap. Energetically, this is a threshold day, not for action, but for recognition. The deeper meaning is preparation. Something is aligning behind the scenes. The pause is intentional. Clarity is incubating. What feels like stillness is actually integration. The message for the collective: you're not behind. You're shedding what cannot follow you forward. How to work with today's energy. Sit in silence. Answers arrive there. Avoid forcing decisions. Let emotions pass without attaching stories. Trust what feels settled, not what feels urgent. A deeper meaning. Meaning is being questioned, not emotions. The dominant undercurrent isn't release or healing, it's disillusionment. People are realizing that routines feel empty. Motivation based on fear or reward isn't working anymore. External narratives, success, hustle, spirituality, relationships don't answer the why anymore. This isn't sadness, it's extinctional friction. The collective is bumping into questions: if this doesn't fulfill me, what actually will? That question has no immediate comfort. Identity fatigue. If you just got here, the title is Stay on Script or Stay Stuck. Don't go off script. Thank you for being here. Identity fatigue. Many people are exhausted not from doing too much, but from being someone they outgrew. Masks are cracking. The strong one, the healed one, the spiritual one, the productive one, the agreeable one. Maintaining identity costs more energy than changing it. So there's a quiet resistance today, not a rebellion, but refusal. Control is losing its illusion of safety. People are noticing that planning doesn't prevent uncertainty. Explaining doesn't guarantee understood or understanding. Perfection doesn't ensure security. This can feel unsettling because control used to equal safety. The deeper energy is that loss of false certainty. Not replaced yet, just removed. That liminal space is uncomfortable and honest. Relationships are being reevaluated without drama. Not cutting people off, not forgiveness, something colder or more mature. This no longer matches who I am becoming. No anger required, no closure demanded. The neutral, can feel empty because intensity used to feel like meaning. The collective is facing a vacuum. Here's the part most people are avoiding saying. When old beliefs collapse and new ones aren't formed yet, there is a void. Today's energy sits close to that void. And the mind tries to fill it with scrolling, productivity, spirituality, noise, but none of it sticks. Because this isn't a day of answers. It's a day where questions sharpen. More questions. The real message behind it all: what once motivated you no longer does. And pretending otherwise is more painful than admitting it. That's not uplifting, it's clarifying. So, how to actually work with today's energy? Not affirmations, not manifesting. Let boredom exist without fixing it. Don't force meaning into your day. Notice where effort feels fake. Pay attention to what you cannot convince yourself of anymore. Those fractures are honest data. Shadow, truth, and collective, y'all don't want to hear that. Psychological layer, not spiritual. One blunt sentence that cuts through everything. And what this energy leads to next. Not today, but soon. So suppression isn't abstract, it's embodied. Stick to the script. People are sensing authenticity has consequences. Truth is punished socially and economically. Compliance is rewarded more than integrity. So the body stays tense, the jaw clenches, the nervous system stays alert. That tension registers as frustration, irritability, numbness, or disassociation. Life feels unreal because expression is filtered. When you can't speak freely, act honestly, or show your real values without penalty, reality starts to feel artificial. This does not feel real, sensation is. Depersonalized, cognitive dissonance, living in contradiction. You're moving through systems that require performance, not presence. So it feels staged. The frustration comes from blocked agency. Humans are wired to create, choose, influence. When systems limit those things, economically, socially, digitally, the psyche experiences containment without consent. That produces low-grade anger with no clear target. Sudden exhaustion. A desire to withdraw or check out. Not weakness, a biological response to constraint. The collective isn't crazy, it's adaptive. What gets labeled as anxiety, lack of motivation, burnout is often the mind saying, this environment does not reflect who I am. The system doesn't have to be overtly violent to be oppressive. It just has to reward inauthenticity consistently. Why this moment feels intensifying. Here's the critical part. People are becoming aware of suppression while still being inside of it. Awareness without exit creates pressure. That's the frustration you're describing. Not awakening, not healing, compression. Stick to the script. The deeper truth. When self-expression is restricted long enough, the psyche either rebels, numbs, or fractures. Many people are right at that threshold. Micro acts of truth where it's safe. Naming the constraints instead of blaming yourself. Creating spaces, even private ones, where performance drops. Reducing environments that require constant self-editing. Freedom doesn't start to escape. It starts to It starts as internal refusal to lie to yourself. How many of y'all stick to the script? Lately, there's a shared tension that's hard to explain. It feels like moving through life while constantly editing yourself, your words, your reaction, even your personality, just to keep things smooth. When expression is filtered for too long, frustration builds, not because something is wrong with us, but because parts of us aren't being used. That's why life can start to feel unreal. While you're present, but not fully allowed to be present. The disconnection isn't personal, it's environmental. And noticing it doesn't make you navigate through it, any easier. And noticing it doesn't make you negative or ungrateful. It makes you aware. Awareness is uncomfortable before it's freeing. There's something the collective has been noticing lately, even if it's hard to put in words. There's a shared tension in the background of everyday life. Not panic, not chaos, just pressure. Subtle, constant, and familiar enough that it almost is ignored. When that kind of filtering becomes routine, frustration builds quietly, not because anything dramatic is happening, but because something essential isn't. Over time, limited expression creates a sense of unreality. Life continues, responsibilities are met, conversations happen, yet something feels staged, like participation without full presence. The collective is recognizing, I don't have it. The collective is recognizing that this disconnect isn't individual, it's environmental. It shows up wherever conformity is rewarded more than authenticity, and where fitting in feels safer than being real. So people adapt. They stay functional, they stay agreeable, they stay busy, but adaptation has a cost. Parts of it Parts of the self go unused, unheard, and eventually unrecognized. That's when frustration starts to leak out sideways as exhaustion, irritability, apathy, or constant feeling that something is missing without knowing exactly what. The collective is also noticing how often this gets mislabeled. It's called lack of motivation, burnout, negativity, or sensitivity. But underneath those labels is something simpler: blocked expression and limited agency. Humans are not meant to exist only as roles. When identity becomes performance, the nervous system never fully relaxes. The body stays alert. The mind stays busy. This is why rest doesn't feel restorative anymore, because what's tired isn't the body, it's the self monitoring. The collective is reaching a point where pretending not to notice feels heavier than noticing, where distraction no longer works the way it used to. Awareness is spreading quietly, not loudly. Not dramatically, just a shared recognition that something about the way life is structured doesn't allow for full humanity. And this awareness doesn't immediately come with solutions. It comes with discomfort, with restlessness, with the sense of standing inside a system while seeing it clearly. This is why frustration is rising, not because people are ungrateful, but because awareness without release creates internal pressure. The collective is learning that this pressure doesn't mean something is wrong with them, it means something is misaligned around them. There's also a noticeable shift in how people relate to the meaning. Old motivators don't work the same. External rewards doesn't satisfy the way it once did. The question underneath everything is becoming quieter but sharper. What what does this mean to live truthfully in an environment that requires constant editing? Everything's important. The collective isn't asking this out of rebellion, it's asking out of fatigue, out of honesty. And while answers aren't fully yet formed, the notice in itself matters because once something is seen collectively, it can't be unseen. This isn't a breakdown, it's recognition. It's a good word. A recognition that authenticity has been rationed, that expression has conditions, that many people are living partially, not because they choose to, but because it feels necessary. The collective is the collective is sitting with the truth now, not rushing to fix it, not dramatizing it, just acknowledging it. Awareness comes first, change follows later. And for now, simply knowing that this feeling is shared, that isn't isolation or imagined, it's grounding. The collective is noticing, and noticing is the beginning of something different. Stay on script or stay stuck. Don't go off the script. The collective is starting to notice something that's been normalized for a long time. There's an unspoken script everyone is expecting to follow, not written down, but understood. How to speak, how to react, what's acceptable, what's too much, what's left better unsaid, or what's better left unsaid. Staying on script keeps things smooth. It avoids friction. It maintains order. But the collective is realizing that staying on script also comes with a cost. When people stay on script for too long, growth slows, expression narrows, curiosity gets replaced with caution. Over time, that's when frustration builds. Not loudly, but steadily. Because something inside knows it's performing instead of participating. The collective is feeling the tension between authenticity and approval, between saying what's real and saying what works. And when that tension becomes constant, life can start to feel unreal, like going through motions that look correct but don't feel connected. The script doesn't ask who you are, it asks who are you supposed to be. So people adapt. They learn the lines. They hit their mark. They keep things moving. But adaptation without expression leads to stagnation. That's where the feeling of being stuck comes from. Not lack of effort, lack of alignment. The collective is noticing that many forms of exhaustion today aren't physical, they're mental, emotional fatigue from constant self monitoring, from always checking. Is this okay? Is this allowed? Is this acceptable here? That kind of awareness never turns off. And when it doesn't, rest stops working the way it used to. Staying on script keeps systems predictable, but it keeps people contained. And going off script doesn't always mean rebellion. Sometimes it just means honesty. Sometimes it's sometimes it's silence instead of pretending. Sometimes it's choosing not to explain yourself anymore. The collective is recognizing that frustration isn't a personal flaw, it's feedback. It's the signal that growth is pressing against boundaries that were never designed for expansion. That's why distraction doesn't hit the same. Why old motivations feel flat. Why the quiet underneath everything has become harder to ignore. Is this really living or just functioning? The collective isn't rushing to tear anything down. It's simply becoming aware of the script and what it costs to follow it indefinitely. Awareness changes the relationship to the script. Once it's seen, it becomes a choice instead of a rule. And choice is where movement begins. Stay on script and things remain familiar, but stuck. Notice the script, and even without immediate answers, something loosens. The collective is in that noticing phase now. Not lost, not broken, just aware. Affirmations to aid the collective. The collective allows awareness without rushing to fix it. It is safe for the collective to observe without self-judgment. The collective gives itself permission to pause and breathe. Authentic thoughts are allowed to exist internally, even in quiet spaces. The collective honors its inner truth, even when it isn't spoken aloud. It is okay for growth to happen gradually and unseen. The collective releases the pressure to perform at all times. Rest is allowed without explanation or productivity attached to it. The collective trusts its internal signals and responses. Clarity arrives naturally when there's space for reflection. The collective remembers that adaptation does not define identity. It is safe to outgrow old roles and expectations internally. The collective permits itself to soften without losing strength. Awareness is recognized as a form of progress. The collective moves forward at its own pace without comparison. So, adjustment won't look like rebellion or mass awakening. It will look quiet, subtle, or uneven. Stick to the script. Internal, internal first, external later. The adjustment is internal distancing. People will stop emotionally investing where authenticity isn't possible. Care less about approval they once chased. Comply outwardly while disengaging inwardly. This creates a calm exterior with a very active inner life. Less reaction, more observation. That's already happening. Selective authenticity. Authenticity. The collective won't be themselves everywhere. They'll choose where and with whom. Adjustment looks like smaller circles, fewer explanations, more privacy, less broadcasting of real thoughts. Authenticity becomes strategic, not suppressed. This protects energy while keeping sanity intact. Redefinition of success, or redefining of success. Old motivators lose power. People adjust by quietly redefining what enough looks like, what matters, what they're willing to sacrifice. Less, more sustainability. This is why hustle narratives feel hollow right now. Nervous system adaptation. Here's a big one people don't talk about. The collective is learning how to regulate inside constrained environments. This means less constant outrage, more emotional neutrality, fewer visible highs and lows, not numbness, containment with awareness. It's a survival level intelligence response. Resonance. Many will live two lives: the functional, acceptable one, the private, truthful one. Creative outlets, journals, anonymous spaces, inner dialogues, trusted conversations. This isn't hypocrisy, it's adaptation under pressure. Quiet withdrawal from noise. Attention will become guarded. People will scroll less and more selectively. Disengage from constant disclosure. Avoid environments that require performance, not isolation. Conversation. Long-term outcome. This matters. Over time, this adjustment creates pressure for change without confrontation. Systems change most when participation becomes minimal. Enthusiasm drops. Compliance lacks belief. That's how shifts happen historically, not through explosions, but through loss of emotional buy-in. The core adjustment. The collective stops expecting the environment to validate their reality and starts validating it internally. That's stabilizing and quietly powerful. The collective isn't breaking, it's learning how to exist without pretending. We never call out the system. Stick to the script. Change starts quietly. The collective will immediately rise up openly. Most adaptation begins internally in ways that don't trigger the system directly. Private reflection and discussion. Small acts of honesty and authenticity. Choosing carefully where to spend energy. These are underground shifts, subtle, invisible, but cumulative. Collective alignment over time. People with shared awareness naturally find each other without formal coordination. Stick to the script. Look at the numbers. Everybody don't belong here. They not even gonna understand it. Resonance. Stick to the script. People with shared awareness naturally will find each other without formal coordination. Private circles, forums, and safe spaces emerge. Shared habits, values, and understanding develop quietly. Trust forms where authenticity is allowed. This is the foundation of power coming from below, not top down confrontation. Withdrawal creates leverage. By opting out of overperformance and conformity, the collective exerts influence indirectly. Productivity, attention, and emotional energy are no longer given freely. Systems lose buy-in even if participations continue. The pressure of expectation exposes itself without a fight. This is often how slow systemic shifts happen. The energy supporting it quietly dissipates. Strategic authenticity. Eventually, people will act strategically, expressing truth selectively where it matters, building influence in controlled spaces, supporting each other in ways that feel safe. This is not rebellion for spectacle. It's calculated, persistent, and resilient, coming from under in a way systems don't see coming. Stick to the script. Long-term outcome. Eventually, the collective influence is felt as cultural norms slowly shifting, invisible networks of understanding and cooperation, more people prioritizing authenticity over performance. It's structural, it's resilient. True change rarely announces itself. It grows quietly through collective awareness, consistent presence, and selective action. Message for the collective, moving from under. The collective is noticing something quiet but undeniable. Life often asks people to perform, to stay on script, to just adjust themselves to fit expectations that aren't fully visible. Following the script keeps things smooth, predictable, and safe, but over time, the collective feels the cost. The collective feels the cost: frustration, fatigue, and in a sense that life is partially filtered or unreal. Many are learning that real movement doesn't always happen on the surface. Not every shift needs to be loud. Not every step needs to be visible. The collective is adjusting, not by breaking the script dramatically, but by choosing carefully where to invest energy, trust, and expression. Subtle acts of authenticity, small private deliberate are becoming more common. Moments where people speak what is true internally, even if quietly. Moments where boundaries are honored without announcement. Withdrawal, reflection, and selective participation are not avoidance. They are strategic recalibration. The collective is learning that influence does not always come from the top. It comes from below, quietly, persistently, and aligned. Shared awareness creates invisible networks, circles of understanding, trust, and connection where authenticity can thrive. Systems notice compliance. They rarely notice what quietly chooses not to fully comply. And in that space, real power grows slowly, steadily, and unpredictably. The collective is learning to preserve energy, honor truth, and act selectively. Over time, this shapes culture, norms, and expectations, not by confrontation, but by internal alignment and quiet consistency. No announcement is necessary, no spectacle is required. The shift happens naturally when enough people choose presence, authenticity, and discernment. The collective is not stuck. The collective is not stuck. It's preparing the ground quietly, strategically, and collectively. Awareness alone is already change. Small acts of authenticity observed and felt ripple outward. The collective is the ripple, and the ripple eventually shapes the shore. Not every step needs to be visible. Shared awareness creates invisible networks. Awareness alone is already change. Silence is your ally. Let viewers feel the weight of each statement. Stick to the script. I see you. I see all the ways you've adapted, all the ways you've hidden pieces of yourself to survive, to belong, to be safe. I want you to know none of that makes you less. None of it makes you wrong. It was necessary once, and now you're ready for a new way of being. You don't need permission to exist fully. You don't need anyone else to approve your truth. It's okay to slow down. It's okay to pause. It's okay to honor the part of you that has been tired from performing, adjusting, and holding back. The frustration you feel isn't a problem. It's a signal. It's your system telling you that old patterns no longer serve you. Listen, lean in. Don't fear what you feel. You're not stuck. You're learning, you're recalibrating, you're becoming the version of yourself that moves with awareness, not obligation. Trust yourself. Trust your rhythm. Trust your ability to discern what matters, what doesn't, and what truly deserves your energy. Be gentle with yourself. Be honest with yourself. Be genuine with yourself. Be brave for yourself. Your voice matters, even if it's whispered. Your truth matters, even if it's small at first. Your presence matters, even when you feel unseen. I'm not asking you to rush. I'm asking you to remember. Your authenticity is your power. And the world will meet you where you are ready to stand, not where you think it should. Your authenticity is your power. I'm not asking you to rush. I'm asking you to remember. Your authenticity is your power. And the world will meet you where you are, ready to stand, not where you think it should. You're capable. You're whole. You are enough. And everything you're letting go of now is making space for everything you were meant to embody. I trust the wisdom of my inner guidance. I allow myself to exist fully without apology. I release the need to perform to gain approval. I honor my truth in every thought, word, and action. I am patient with my growth and transformation. Excuse me. Every step I take aligns me more deeply with my purpose. I am grounded in my own reality, not the expectations of others. I give myself permission to pause, reflect, and recalibrate. My presence alone is a powerful contribution. I honor my boundaries and the energy I give away. I am learning to move with awareness, not obligation. I fully trust my discernment in choosing where to invest my energy. Frustration is a signal guiding me towards alignment, not failure. I am enough exactly as I am, here and now. I embrace authenticity over comfort, truth over performance. There are truths here that speak quietly, the ones you feel more than you hear. Some messages reveal themselves slowly if you pay attention to the spaces between the words. The real insight isn't always on the surface, it's hidden in plain sight. Notice what resonates with you, even if it's subtle. Some understanding only comes when you pause to observe. Trust what lands quietly inside. It's the part that's meant for you. I trust the wisdom of my inner guidance. The words here aren't just words, they move quietly, like a current beneath the surface. If something resonates strongly, pay attention. If it's meant for you, some of this might feel unfamiliar or familiar, like something you've been noticing but didn't notice or didn't know how to name it. This is the kind of things you recognize in quiet moments, the stuff you notice when you scroll or when everyone else is talking, but you're paying attention. If you feel like this hits a little too close to home, that's okay. It's meant to land that way. We've all been in situations where we're pretending to be okay, when inside we feel restless or stuck. Ever notice how something feels like it's moving on autopilot? That's what it's about. Most people don't talk about it, but we feel it. The quiet pressure to fit in, to perform, to stay on script. If something here makes you pause, that's the part of you paying attention. Some messages sneak in without you noticing at first. That's the point. The things that stick with you are the ones that you need to hear, even if you can't explain why. So, you know that feeling that something doesn't quite sit right with you, but you can't put your finger on it? That's exactly what we're talking about here. If it sticks, you pay attention. It's speaking to the part of you that you already know. So, stick to the script. Stay on stay on script or stay stuck. Don't go off script. So, everybody that was listening, this ain't part of the script. Everything you heard was important. If you gotta replay it, replay it. Your authenticity is your power. But notice how situations are being handled. Notice what is being delivered. We have to be very mindful going forward. I was a part of the system when the cell phones came about. Thank you. Thank you so much. This is the result. So anybody that is around my age that knows when, everything came out, um, we're noticing the result. And remember, I said awake, but we awoken or awakened in this. So pay attention, but also hear the words. Authenticity is your power. Have you noticed how Instagram looks? Everything and everybody looks the same. So put that in your pocket along with what I just said. Go back and listen to it if you have to. And then we'll reconvene. But stay on script or stay stuck. One more thing. I got up early. I get up early every day. I prepared. So this is why it was long enough to run into the time. And because that happened, y'all may have got signals. So in marketing, they teach you about body language and things of that nature. Start paying attention. Who's on script? a shift is happening. And when I did this, my group knows that when one thing exists, so does the other. This is why we stay right here. We wait till things, we observe, don't absorb. Observe, because this is happening, and so is this. Stay on script or stay stuck. Don't go off script. But those of you who are truth tellers, when one thing exists, so does the other. Okay? So I'm going to leave because this message is stay on script. We have to stay on the script. Put it in your pocket. And we'll be back because I'm coming back. I love y'all. Thank y'all for being here. And everybody, Lady T, I love you. Thank you. I saw you. Black Girls Read. I love y'all. Oh, I'm supposed to stay on script. I love y'all. I'm going to go. But I did see everybody. Thank y'all for being here. And I'll be back without the script. Oh, hold on. I was supposed to give y'all another message. What was the song? I've been singing this song all morning. It came out of nowhere. Maybe it's to stay on script. So I'm going to remember the song. I'm going to come back probably with the song. But I could have swore since I started singing it earlier, it was supposed to be here. So let me think. What was the song? Y'all, I literally been singing this song all morning long. Like, I woke up singing this song. I'll come back. I'm going to bring y'all back the song because I know I'm going to remember, but maybe it's just not meant for me to put